This is On the Record. We are the Two Mikes. I'm Mike Graham, and I'm delighted to say that after the outrageous success of the first Porky review of books, we're ready to do the second Porky review of books instalment. This will now be a regular feature, of course. This is where Porky looks at the big books that are out this week and tells you whether they're worth reading.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what have you got for us this week, Porky?
Well, let me tell you, mate, this is a fantastic book, and I get all these books sent to me, and can't read them all the time, but I read the salient points. Now, when you were a kid, did you read Enid Blyton books?
Well, do you know, not really. I mean, we always had Enid Blyton books in the house.
Yeah. But so you know who Enid Blyton is, don't you?
Yeah, the famous Five and all that.
Yeah, famous Five, Secret Seven, Noddy. She invented Noddy.
I remember Noddy.
Right.
I used to like Noddy, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
I was a big fan of Noddy.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, what happened was, she started off as a secretary, then started writing books. But she was earning like £5 million a year, the equivalent of in the sort of 1930s and all this kind of stuff. 1950s actually.
Well, the Young Ones did a piss tape, didn't they? They did. Did you remember the Young Ones?
Yes,
TV show?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And they did a sort of piss tape, Five Go Mad on mescaline.
Yes, that's right.
Which was quite funny.
Well, these days, a lot of modern books about society's problems are called Five Approach Transgender and all that kind of stuff. They've hijacked it. Hijacked it. But anyway, point of the story is she became famous in the 30s, earned about £5 million a year. She was a mad shagger. Enid Blyton was a mad shagger.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Eh?
How do you know that?
Because I've read the book. The book is called The Real Enid Blyton by Nadia Cohen.
Right.
And
now, I've heard of Nadia Cohen.
Yeah.
Where have I heard of her?
I don't know.
Is she a journalist, maybe?
Well, she probably is, because journalists often write books, don't they?
Yeah.
But what happened was, she got married in 1924 to a guy called Major Hugh Pollock. He turned out to be... Yeah, Pollock. Pollock. I think that's the name of a fish these days. They use it instead of cod, isn't
Pollock, it is, you're right.
Yeah. But... the point is, he turned out to be a bit of a sort of dud, you know what I mean?
Damp squib.
Yeah, a bit of damp squib, not that exciting.
Not enough for her.
So, according to the book I've read, Enid was off like romancing around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which part of the world was she from?
She was from like Bournemouth, that sort of part of the world. You know what I mean?
The Parry family seat.
Yeah, that's right. And that influenced some of the things she wrote, like the boarding school drama Mallory Towers and all that was based on that sort of life between the wars. You know what I mean? In sort of quintessential.
Was that more of a sort of
England?
grown-up book, Mallory Towers? I think it was.
No, it's about teenagers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but
okay?
I mean, the famous Five was not so much about teenagers, was it? It was more kind of 12, 13.
Yeah, that's right. But Mallory Towers is a bit more grown up.
Yeah.
But anyway, Enid Blyton put herself over as a domestic angel, but despite her career being devoted to improving children's literacy, Enid Blyton hardly ever read to her two children.
Yeah. Were they children she had with Pollock?
She had them with Pollock, that's right, yeah. Enid hardly ever read to her children. And physical contact with them was more likely to involve a beating with a hairbrush than a cuddle. By the late 30s, there was little about Enid's home life that in any way resembled the rosy-cheeked innocence of her stories. By 1938, her and Hugh, that's Hugh Pollock, right, who by now, ignored and embarrassed by his wife, was drinking heavily, and they were living virtually separate lives. The war was coming up, and Hugh had good reason to be away to help the war effort. What domestic energies Enid retained, meanwhile, seemed to be ploughed into throwing huge, glamorous parties at the family's palatial home, which she could afford from her huge earnings from writing her books. It was called Green Hedges in Beaconsfield.
Beaconsfield?
Yeah, do you know Beaconsfield?
I think that's out in sort of... Buckinghamshire way, isn't it?
Hey?
I think it's out Buckinghamshire
Yeah, that's
way.
right, it is.
If you go on the M40 from London,
I'm sure
heading
you're right.
out towards Gerrard's Cross,
Denham and all that sort of place.
Very nice part of the world.
Yeah, okay.
Very show busy, actually.
Very show busy, yeah. The parties looked very innocent, except that the guest list frequently included a number of unattached young men, younger than Enid herself, and among them several young army officers who had been posted into officers' barracks nearby, as well as her inviting the doctor next door, who was a bachelor, and it was later found out whose house she was paying for.
Really?
Right? It wasn't long before Enid's frantic socialising led her to become the subject of local whispers, not to mention the subject of gossip columns.
Goodness me.
One enjoyable rumour had it that visitors once arrived at the house to find their hostess completely out of her face on drink and playing tennis entirely naked with a young army officer.
Naked tennis?
Yeah.
That's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Does she have shoes on?
Well, who knows? Who knows?
Otherwise you could cut your feet.
Yeah, that's right. Hugh, her husband, of course, was furious when he came home.
Hugh Pollock.
Yeah,
Hugh Pollock.
Hugh the Pollock. Hey. Hugh the Pollock.
Hugh Pollock.
Oh, got bollocked.
Hugh the
Groove.
Yeah.
So Hugh was furious when he came home from his war effort, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not very nice to go out and, fight for your country, come back and find your wife running around naked on the tennis court
with some young chap.
Yes, some young officer, probably in a
and why is that other bloke
in a heightened state of excitement?
Yeah, don't worry, he's a doctor.
Yeah. Don't worry about next door. But why are you paying his rent? Well, I need a doctor on hand, if you see what I mean.
Exactly.
In hand.
Shocking.
Yeah, so anyway, Hugh's furious when he came home to find out his wife had been entertaining men in what he described as an unsuitable way.
Really?
In his absence.
Where were the kids at this point, by the way? Where were the kids?
Well, who knows?
Boarding school.
Who knows who looks after celebrities' children?
I mean, if you can't really be a mother running about naked on a tennis court if you've got children in the house, can
well,
you?
I suppose that you're probably right, probably a boarding school or something like that. Anyway, Hugh then took deeper to drink and decided in revenge to start cavorting with a young novelist who had been a pupil of Enid Blyton's, right? Called Ida Crowe.
Ida Crowe?
Ida Crowe. Yeah, Ida Crowe, right?
Yeah.
A development.
I had a better idea than that.
Eh?
I had a better idea than that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great, isn't it? These people that had this kind of loose lifestyle.
Exactly.
See, I should have lived there. You give me a hard time for having this kind of loose attitude to life.
Yeah.
I was born in the wrong fucking time.
Yeah.
I should have lived around the sort of days of the Edwardians.
Exactly. So like a lot of free shagging, free
just,
drinking.
Go to somebody's house, stagger about naked, fall into the nearest sort of novelist that you happen to find in the dining room.
That's right.
And away you go.
That's right.
It's horrendous.
But anyway, what happened was, even though Enid was running around, getting rogered by all these
Pollock naked.
by all these young army officers, she was very upset that her husband had taken up with Ida Crowe,
typical,
who was one of her pupils.
So
right?
What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
In early 1941, she suddenly gets a phone call at home, and an anonymous caller said, "Don't let Ida Crowe over you." Get the pun, Ida Crowe. Don't let Ida Crowe.
Who was that ringing? Was that Lurch?
Well, I don't know. So by early 1941, she decided the marriage was over. Its fate sealed when Enid was persuaded by Dorothy, who was her personal assistant, to join her on a trip to visit her sister Betty Marsh.
Betty Marsh?
Yeah, Betty Marsh. Yeah. At her home in Devon.
Right.
Among Betty's other guests was a surgeon called Kenneth Darrell Walters.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
KDW.
After who she had a lustful affair with.
So she moved on to him.
Yeah,
she didn't mess around much.
No, she didn't mess around much. She had a lustful affair with Kenneth Darrell Waters. Did I say Walters?
Walters.
Yeah, Waters.
Oh, Waters. Okay.
And in her famous book, Mallory Towers, the heroine is called Darrell Rivers. His middle name was Darrell. Kenneth Darrell Waters.
Right.
And the hero's gone after him. She was that fond of him, okay?
Well, it's nothing like Darrell Rivers, is it?
And from...
It's nothing like Darrell Rivers. Well, she changed Waters to Rivers and gave
his middle name was Darrell. Kenneth Darrell Waters.
Yeah.
And she called the hero of Mallory Towers Darrell Rivers.
Yeah, but it's nothing like Darrell Waters.
Well, it's got Darrell. It's got Darrell.
Well, yeah, but Waters and Rivers. Is that what you're telling me? Is the same?
I think that is. I think that was. Bollocks. She was trying to make. That was what you call her, like a sort of wink, nom de plume. Yeah, nom de plume type thing. Yeah. But anyway, apparently, Enid Blyton fell in love with this guy because of the way he played bridge.
Oh, yeah.
And what happened was, from the first moment he and Enid met over a game of bridge, it was love and lust at first sight for both.
I suspect lust is what you're talking about. Yeah.
So as soon as they returned...
What sort of age is she by this stage?
Well...
Is she still taking the kids with her? I mean, there's a lot of holes in this book, it seems to me.
No.
They've not made
she
it very
was in
clear.
her 40s by this stage.
Oh, okay.
Right, okay.
Dangerous age, that.
Well, her firstborn was in July 31, when she was in the mid-20s. Okay. So she's now in sort of, like, late 30s, really. Okay. So anyway, so they return home to Beaconsfield, okay?
Right.
And
back from
embarked...
Devon.
back from Devon, embarked on a raging affair. Right.
No, another one.
Yeah. With this guy,
Darryl.
Kenneth Darryl Waters. Yeah.
Okay, right.
They met as often as they could. Enid rented a shag pad in Knightsbridge. So I'm calling it a shag pad. The book doesn't.
No,
but
I was going to say.
It says here she rented an upmarket discreet flat in Knightsbridge to carry on their romantic liaisons, but brazenly used Dorothy's name to cover her tracks.
Yeah.
So she rented the flat in the name of her friend Dorothy.
Dorothy.
Down in Devon.
Yeah.
Where they'd first met.
Devon, right.
Yeah. So she had a knocking shop. She was a woman. Most men,
Sounds
don't
about
they?
insatiable.
Yeah, exactly. Most men, when they get like powerful and strong and all that, if they want a mistress, they'll have a flat in town, won't they?
Yeah.
And do all their shagging there before they go home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, Enid did it in reverse. She's the woman, and she said she had no problem using her dear girlfriend Dorothy as a scapegoat. And when confronted at Green Hedges, which was the house in Beaconsfield, by Kenneth's furious wife, right?
Whose wife? Oh, right. Okay.
Kenneth.
Darryl's wife.
Kenneth Darryl Waters.
Yeah.
Confronted by...
Oh, he didn't say he was married as well.
Oh, yeah, he's married.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the surgeon.
Okay.
He's the surgeon. He's married.
Oh,
Yeah,
what, was he the doctor whose house she was paying for? That's a different guy.
No, it's a different guy.
Okay.
The doctor next door was not a surgeon.
So this bloke's from Devon, isn't he?
No. This bloke was a guest house in Devon as well.
I see. Right, okay.
You
It's
see,
hard to keep
the
up
house
with all
guest.
this
The house
shagging going
guest.
on.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But when confronted by Kenneth's furious wife, in the wake of a discovery of her husband's betrayal, Enid not only made a complete denial and said, "How dare you," but said, "Actually, it's my friend Dorothy who's shagging your husband, not me."
That's nice.
So she sold a friend down the river.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Blimey.
Exactly.
It's a nasty piece of work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what did Mrs. Darryl then do?
Mrs. Darryl
after fucking Dorothy.
went after Dorothy.
Right.
Dorothy was mortified, but out of loyalty to Enid, admitted to Kenneth's wife that she was shagging the husband.
Jesus
okay.
Christ almighty.
Yeah, I know.
She had any time to write any fucking books.
I know. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. When she's still married by this time, by the way. So when
So
her
where
husband,
is he, old Pollock, then? Where's he gone?
well, he's fighting the war, isn't he? Fighting the fucking war.
He's still
getting
away.
His bollocks blown off, with German, gunfire and all
Dear
that kind of
God.
stuff, while she's shagging around in Beaconsfield and Devon. When her husband did return to the marriage in 1944, it was to find Kenneth, right?
Yeah.
The surgeon, staying in the house with his clothes hanging in his wardrobe.
Blimey.
Humiliated.
That is humiliating.
Hugh left home for good after one last bitter argument, although Enid concealed the fact from her daughters for the next 18 months, saying, "Oh, Daddy's gone away to war." I mean,
What a
dear me.
terribly complicated life.
Well, yeah, but also she got pregnant again at 48 years of age through another lover.
Right.
Okay. In 1945, at the age of 48, and discovered she was pregnant again. Kenneth, who'd always longed for a child, was delighted, and everybody seemed pleased. 5 months in, Enid fell off a ladder, right, while she was collecting apples in a barn,
Oh, yeah.
right, something that the doctors had advised her not to do, and lost the baby.
Oh, dear.
It is rumoured
Yeah.
or suspected she threw herself off the ladder.
Really?
Yes.
Well, because she didn't want to have the baby.
Yes, that's right.
It might have made life a bit complicated, especially if she wasn't sleeping with the husband.
Indeed.
You know what I mean?
Indeed.
You can't really pretend that it's his.
No,
can you?
exactly.
If he's not anywhere involved.
Exactly. So, I mean, listen, that is an amazing... I've got another couple of books to tell you about, but that's the one that really struck me in the face. Enid Blyton, inventor of Noddy, inventor of the famous Five,
Noddy.
inventor of the Secret Seven, mass shaggaroony, all the time,
Incredible.
with army officers, young army officers, doctors, surgeons, and everything else.
She's also an inveterate liar.
Inveterate liar.
Yeah.
Blames her
Very
friends.
much part of the Porky tribe.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah. Blames her friends and tells them to take the blame for all her shaggaroony.
Absolutely incredible.
I mean, an amazing story.
Now, presumably you would recommend this book to be read by people if they like a bit of excitement.
Certainly would.
So why don't you give us, at the end of our little section that we've got here, the name of the book and where they can get it.
I have already, but I'll tell you again. It's
Well, tell us again.
The Real Enid Blyton, written by Nadia Cohen, published by Pen and Sword History. And it cost you £19.99.
Sounds well worth it. So what's the next book on the agenda then? Because...
At bedtime, when the light goes out once more, some Something wicked this way comes creeping soft across the floor. Don't look now, it might be there.